Congressman, I have a question about bipartisanship. Um,
Yes.
I was so impressed when the Speaker of the House swore you in. You were then introduced to your colleagues by Democratic Congressman Sanford Bishop and also Republican Congressman Rob Woodall, both of Georgia. And they both said very nice things about you. And at the Concord Coalition, we always take notice when people are being unusually bipartisan on Capitol Hill. We've come to realize that not one party is big enough to conquer all the big challenges, particularly ones that we look at the Concord Coalition. So I'm interested, how have you been able to succeed? Because I've watched you firsthand here in Georgia be bipartisan. When people wanted you to be hyperpartisan, you've been willing to reach out to the other side. What's your history with that, and what's your secret to your success? How can we encourage more of that?
Well, thank you, Phil. And first and foremost, I was raised by parents who made sure that you focus on meeting the individual before you decide how you're going to feel about them. That's very important. You can't make another person an enemy before you've even had a chance to engage. As a school board member and a council member, both positions were nonpartisan. So for sure in education, we do not need partisan any more conflict and challenge than we have already with just trying to educate our kids. In the city council, the same thing was true. I grew up a Democrat, but my district included the central business district and a very, very strong anti-war, very progressive, liberal and neoliberal community to the far east, Emmett Park and Ponce Highlands and Grant Park and Ormwood Park. So I had the benefit of both groups. And then I had very low income African-American community in the Bedford Pines Boulevard corridor. So all three of these forced me to figure a strategy on how to create a shared vision around things that everybody wants, as opposed to thinking about just the special interest groups, the groups with the most money or the groups with the loudest voice. But what are the things, the 4 or 5 things we all can agree upon? And never start off assuming anyone is your enemy, even if you've heard bad things about them. Still engage head on. And I'll tell you, one of the most interesting things that's happened, I was in the hallway outside of the floor to the Congress, and AOC walked up and I got a chance to speak to her and say hello and, just good to meet you. And, just told her keep fighting her good fight. I understand she's fighting for what she believes in. Literally 1 minute later, I got a group text from a gentleman who was introducing me to Ted Yoho. So, I couldn't have planned that. It was divine. And then I went in the well and I met Ted and had a chance to chat with him. We have a mutual friend. So, I think if you're open and you're willing and available, at least to begin to bridge the gap. So I consider myself now, I've got to figure out how to get to know both of them and see if I can, mend the fences for them one day. A person like me is just, open to trying to be a bridge between people. But still people have to treat one another right. And you've got to be willing to stand up. And if you see injustice anywhere, and in the words of Martin Luther King, a threat to justice, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So when I see things, I call them out, but I also try to be available to listen to people, because until you hear them, you can't build the level of trust and rapport to even call them on a bad thing, because you don't know them well enough. And when you check someone before you know them, they're easily offended, and then they just kind of bottle up and go into the corner, and you're an enemy as well. So I try to be a bridge builder, meet everyone where they are, and bring them to a new accord and a new place of peace and reconciliation.